The NL Manager of the Year race has some outstanding candidates, but I think that there will be one clear-cut winner of this award when the dust settles. Hey everybody, it's Paulie. Welcome back to This Week in Red, where we're talking all things Red Sox and Major League Baseball. In talking about candidates for the NL Manager of the Year, there's some pretty good choices over in the National League. You have Dusty Baker in Cincinnati. You certainly have Clint in Pittsburgh. And Davey Johnson in Washington, to me, are the three candidates that stand out the most in this race. And as we look at the candidates, let's start with Baker in Cincinnati. The Reds have been a very, very good team this year. They've been a big surprise. And, you know, they're going to make the playoffs, probably win that division. And it's good to see the Cincinnati Reds back on top in baseball and back in the playoff mix. That's just good for the sport. They're one of the historic franchises in baseball. And Baker's done a great job. He's always had a good hand as a manager, no matter where he's been. But this year, even though he's done a great job, you know, the Reds players have been absolutely great this year. They really carried the load for their teammate, Joey Votto, who missed a good portion of the year with injury. And the Reds didn't miss a beat. And I think that's more of a credit to the players on that team. Even though Baker provided great guidance, I think the players on that team pulled together. They picked up the slack for Votto, and they deserve a lot of credit along with Baker for making the Reds a first-place team. Clint in Pittsburgh, we've talked about him earlier this year. He's an outstanding story. He was a good manager with the Colorado Rockies. He got him to a World Series, and now he's doing good things in Pittsburgh with a young team where he's providing leadership and direction. The Pirates have slipped a little bit in recent weeks, and now there's some question as to whether they're going to actually make the playoffs as a wild card or not. If they don't make the playoffs, I think that hurts Hurdle just a little bit in his candidacy for Manager of the Year. But if the Pirates do make the playoffs, I think that Hurdle might immediately become the favorite in this race. But for right now, to me, the guy who deserves this award is Davey Johnson over in Washington. The Nationals have exploded onto the scene this year. All their young talent has come together at once, maybe even a year early. And Johnson, who's in his late 60s, deserves an immense amount of credit for that. This is a guy that's known to be more of a veteran type of team manager. He has done wonders with this young Nationals team. And once this team makes the playoffs, it's going to be very interesting to see how they play in the playoffs. They're the youngest team in the playoffs, I'm sure. They're going to be very exciting to watch, with or without Steven Strasburg. And again, they definitely should have Strasburg in there for the playoff run. But right now, Johnson's been awesome as a manager. I was some question in my mind as to whether this guy was the right fit when the Nationals brought him in to replace Jim Riggleman. Is an old school manager going to be good for young players? Well, apparently the answer is yes. Similar to what Jack McKeon got accomplished in his years with the Marlins, Johnson's had a positive influence on the Nationals, and I think that they've achieved more than anyone could have expected coming into the season. And for that reason, I think Davey Johnson should be your Manager of the Year in the National League. What about you guys? Who do you think should win National League Manager of the Year? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends about This Week in Red.